Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the Village Board sitting as the Plan Commission for zoning code amendments to Chapter 17 of the Village of Hainesville Municipal Code to modify zoning definitions and use regulations. It is 6:32 p.m. on Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016. If we could please call the roll.
Mayor Linda Soto.
Present.
Trustees Georgianne Duberstein here. Barrett.
Here.
Hein. Here. And Daly.
Here.
So we have George Duberstein and Trustee Darnowski absent.
But we do have a quorum, that's the good news. So can I have a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, at this time, I'll ask if there's anybody that would like to make any public comments in regards to the zoning code amendments. We had a hearing on March 8th, and we've had the document available for 4 weeks roughly now. Any takers? Okay. Then, as far as the proposed amendments, I did not receive any additional comments. Clerk Metzler did contact the zoning attorney at Hainesville and Georgianne. Your suggestion was approved and was in agreement, so that we're just rolling that category into the hardware home improvement types. So I think that's the only significant change. So I just wanted to know if the board or the zoning commission, I should say, had any other comments. If not, I would like a vote that we will recommend at the following regular board meeting that we adopt by way of ordinance the zoning code amendments.
So moved.
Second. Do we need
No, we don't.
a motion here?
No.
No, just
a
a consensus.
Oh, consensus.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Georgianne. Yes. Kevin.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, and yes.
So if I say no, it all goes out the window? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the special meeting is now adjourned at 6:34.
You need a motion.
So moved.
No.
Dina, okay. Now, see.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. I'll even give you a 6:34 and a half on there. Okay, so let's move these documents. Okay, so now the regular board meeting, the Village of Hainesville will come to order on Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016 at 6:35 p.m. If we could please call the roll.
Trustees Georgianne Duberstein here, Mayor Linda Soto,
Still here.
Barrett,
Here.
Hein, and Daly.
Here.
Still absent is trustees Darnowski and George Duberstein.
He's doing a performance tonight, otherwise he would leave.
Oh, sure.
If everybody will please rise and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are still in quorum, and can I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, any general public comments tonight? Madam Clerk, did you receive any forms, not takers? Okay, no news is good news, I guess. Okay, let's move on to omnibus vote agenda.
So move.
Second.
Roll call?
Trustees Georgianne Duberstein.
Aye.
Barrett.
Aye.
Hine.
Aye.
And Daley.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, at this time, we will take reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. Our engineer is only going to be reporting the first meeting of the month. So we will move all the way down to Public Works. Mike DePaul.
Thank you, Mayor. I've finished a complete inventory of all of Public Works tools and equipment, and I've also compiled a list of all the go bags that were stored in the garage. I've met with most of the seasonal employees that are returning this summer. I have a tentative start and end date for them. With all the projects I have planned, there will be plenty of work to keep them busy, weather permitting. We're working on getting our fast fill hose on the back of the Public Works building in working order. The old hose was cracked and dry rotted. I received a donated old fire hose from the Fox Lake Volunteer Fire Department, so we're going to try to make that work for a minimal cost to the village.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We like chief. 3.
Okay, we'll move over to our police chief, Phil Perlini.
Just at spring break, so like I said last time, everybody keep watching for pedestrians, bicycles, and motorcycles. Get nice out.
Okay. Treasurer Kelly Hensley.
Okay, under the business items, you'll notice I have the drafts of the estimate of revenue, the appropriation ordinance, and the budget for fiscal year ending April 2017. Minor changes took place from the last time the board has seen them till what was in your packet. We'll have the public hearing for the appropriation ordinance at 6:30, Tuesday, April 12th. And then after that, I will publish the notice. I'll cause that to be published later this week. Later on, during the regular board meeting that follows the public hearing, these items will be back underneath business for approval. Once that's approved, I'll take care of all the paperwork that needs to be done, filed with the Lake County Clerk's Office. The other item is we are working on opening up the new banking accounts. We're switching the banks, so today I met with one of my liaisons with the new bank, so we're starting that ball rolling. We hope to have everything a good, smooth transition within the next 30 days, and then keep 2 dual banks going for a little bit to get all the little stragglers. The audit has been firmly scheduled for the week of June 27th, as well as June 9th and June 10th. One of the auditors, Brittany, will be in for her and I to sit and do some preliminary work together. And with utility billing, we are advertising, going paperless with the last newsletter. And we had about, I didn't look at the count this afternoon, but last time I looked, there was 22 people that signed up for it. So they took advantage of getting the 2 yard waste stickers for free. On the next bill, I had our utility clerk actually get a little extra verbiage on the next bill. And so I'm gonna play a little bit with this, talk with Mayor Soto to see what else we want on this, just to try to promote it directly on the bill for those that don't read their newsletter. That's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, Kathy Metzger.
Okay, I've been talking about business license renewals. They were all mailed out yesterday and today. Because this was the first time, it was a little intense
With the new software.
with the new software, but it'll be easier. We also have a new business at 45 West Belvedere Road. It's Revolution Dance and Fitness Studio. They open tomorrow. And they will be doing dance and Zumba classes, Zumba. And then Election Day was very busy here. The foyer was packed so many times. Deputy Clerk Stark, and I would like to give a special thank you to Georgianne Duberstein. This is the first year that Rose Ann and I didn't have to come in early or come back to open up. Georgianne did it all. So thank you, my dear. We did appreciate that. And then Monday morning, I will be doing payroll for the staff at 8 a.m. with Eater and Casella, the consulting services, and they will sit with me through the whole process of payroll. That's all I have to report.
Just to add, 1,400 people, over 1,400 people voted that
Wow.
day, and I registered 39 people, new voters.
That's the highest turnout we've had in a long
Oh,
time.
Yeah.
For primary,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, even for general
For
election,
general,
it's bigger than general election.
Yeah, it was packed.
Never a lull. I mean, it was,
No.
yeah, never a lull.
And then what happened is the ballot judge went out at 7 and stood outside
Oh, at the end
at
of
the
the line.
end of the line, and I left, because I worked late that day, I left, I think it was 7:30, and they were still,
Finishing up the
Well,
line.
Yes.
so we didn't get out until 9:30,
wow,
and usually it's 8 o'clock.
yeah,
Well,
so.
well, let's push
Just
the
like
bus.
what's gonna happen in November.
Okay, we'll move on to the mayor's report. I continue a new chapter with fences in Hainesville. Every time I try to get this rascal under control, a new windstorm comes along. And as you know, we recently had some very high winds, which took down additional fences or added to the already fences in disrepair. In fact, I kind of chuckled because I woke up the morning, I woke up extra early because I had to be in Deerfield for a transportation meeting. And so it was very dark, it was 5:30 in the morning, and I opened my slider to let my dog out. And there were two eyes looking back at me. And I jumped because I thought, what is in my yard? Well, it was the neighbor's two dogs were in my yard because our fence between the two yards had been, I had to send my son out to fix that. Temporarily, it is fixed, and we'll fix it properly in the next month or so. So that is the message. I met with Deputy Chief Jeff Meyer recently, and we were talking about going back to the addresses that had not responded to warnings. But now we have a situation where we've had additional damage and new damage. So I think we're now at the point where there's so many of them, we're gonna do a letter, and I think I'm even gonna do a CTY call. And if we don't get response from people to that, then we're gonna do citations.
Can't we just collect them and have a bonfire?
Well, that's a thought. And I mentioned that I was in Deerfield. The Transportation Management Association of Lake Cook has an annual meeting. It was on Thursday, March 17th, to review the 2016 highway construction projects for the year. It's a very useful meeting, and I have up on the board the map that they handed out, and it shows all the various projects and by whose agency is doing the project, whether it's the tollway, IDOT, Lake County DOT, and so on. And what's kind of cool then, at the border, we had somebody from Wisconsin DOT to talk about projects by the border, as well as projects by northern Cook County. So I just received that this evening electronically. We will be posting that map on the website and our new Facebook page. And please take note, our new Facebook page or revived page is active again. So you can do a search on Facebook for Hainesville IL, no space. And you will find our government page. You can like us and you'll get up-to-date notifications on that type of information. The project that wasn't noted on there, that I make sure that was on the record of the meeting and that everybody noted on their map, is the intersection improvement for the right-hand turn lane at 120 in Hainesville Road. We're still hopeful that this will start in fall of this year. That was a little up in the air and it did make the map, but I asked people to note it on their map, and I wanted to make sure that all the representatives from IDOT and the County DOT and so on in the room heard me say that for the record. So they are moving forward on that as quickly as they can. And then one final item. Last week, I attended the SWAPO Executive Committee meeting. And of course, one of the topics was our shutdown of electronic recycling in Lake County. We have no new, real encouraging news as of yet coming out of Springfield or any other fast, quick, easy solutions. But what was interesting is when the Village of Grays Lake had discussed this at their board meeting, Grays Lake is concerned, larger towns such as Waukegan is very concerned about what's going to happen with the shutdown and where these electronics are going to go. I know for a fact, Mike confirmed, we have a TV already in Cranberry Lake that I don't think we're going to be able to get to until the ground gets a little harder or dried out.
We
Did you
got
get it? You did.
Yes.
You never cease to amaze me. Thank you.
Fishing.
But the point is, people are already dumping the stuff. The Grays Lake Board threw out the possibility of throwing money at SWACO to fund the program to continue through the calendar year of 2016. We would need about $62,000, $65,000 to carry it to the end of the calendar year. Grays Lake was willing to go as high as $20,000 if other communities were willing to put in. There was some discussion that was sent to our meeting from some of the Lake County board members that they would like to see the Lake County board authorize some money as well, although we haven't gotten an answer or a dollar figure from them. However, mayors of small towns such as myself and the mayor of Riverwoods really voiced concern that, number one, we don't have any money to put in. We're not putting money in. And while I commend them for their efforts and I get the concern, I also think that as long as we keep subsidizing the program, it's very easy for people to not take action and fix the long-term problem. So we went round and round on that, and I am just updating you because this is out there. Walter Willis, the executive director of SWACO, did send out a message. Mike Ellis, the village administrator of Grays Lake, did chime in on that email this afternoon. And so if other member communities want to throw in the pot or have money to throw in the pot and they can get that money, it may come back temporarily. So I just want you to know what I stated for the record and share that with you. I'm not making any recommendation that we put in a nickel because we don't have it, period. I will continue to lobby that we need a better answer legislatively, and I'll continue to lobby that statewide and federally we need to start charging people a fee at the time they buy their electronics for recycling, just like you do for tires, oil, and everything else. So that's all I have for this evening. We'll move on to Great H Club. Yeah.
You might want to mention that you met with Congressman Dole and talked to him about the recycling thing on national.
Good point, good point. I think I mentioned at our last board meeting that we had met with Congressman Dole, but maybe I didn't. I thought I had.
It was in between.
Congressman Dole, oh yeah, he met with us the day after. I've been at so many meetings, forgive me. He stopped in to visit Hainesville. I had Georgianne in the meeting with me. We talked about various issues, but the electronic recycling was brought up. He agrees it's a national issue. It's not just a state of Illinois issue, it's a national issue. But the state of Illinois needs to correct this problem for the short term. The long-term answer is a federal issue also. I also gave Congressman Dole a copy of our comprehensive plan. I gave him one a few years back, but I wanted to give him one again and ask him if there's, he or his staff can find any federal resources that could help our village. I have not been able to find any immediate topics for our village per se, other than more global concerns, if you will, whether it's from a county perspective, or something like the electronic recycling. But I asked him if there's any grants out there that could help our village pursue anything in our comprehensive plan, that we would greatly appreciate that. So he was going to take that back to his staff and take a look at it. Okay, now we'll move on to the Great Age Club and any other general announcements.
There's nothing new with the Great Age Club. It still meets at 10:30 the first Thursday of the month. LCCTSC, the Lake County Coordinated Transportation Services Committee, is working on updating their website, actually revamping it totally. And it should go on board, or live, as they say, on April 1st with the rest of Lake County's new website. So when it's done, I'd like to have them come and give a presentation so that people will know how to access it. And it's going to be very rider friendly so that people will be able to find out how do I get somewhere if they can't drive.
Is it the fact that it's going up on April Fool's Day indicative of anything?
I sure hope not. The other news is because of our desire to streamline the budget, the money earmarked for the garage sale is no more. And so Debbie Bocci, a homeowner here in Hainesville, and her husband, who work for Bear Warmer, have agreed to sponsor the garage sale this year. The date has not been set, but I appreciate that they're going to make it so that we can continue this, since I know the community really enjoys having it.
I think that's wonderful. So we thank Debbie Bocci very much. They're out of Libertyville, but they're in our office.
Yes, and Peterson.
Okay. Any other general announcements? Okay, let's move on to business. First item up is the zoning code amendments to Chapter 17 of the Village of Hainesville Municipal Code to modify zoning definitions and use regulations.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Georgianne Juberstein.
Aye.
Barrett.
Aye.
Hein. And Daley.
Aye.
Motion carried. Ordinance 16-3-218.
Okay, next item up is the estimate of revenue fiscal year 2017 draft.
So moved.
We're not really voting.
No, I was just gonna say, we're not approving any of these tonight, as Kelly mentioned earlier.
Right.
So not moved.
I think, Kelly, you're just presenting these to
Correct,
us,
these are just
right?
being presented
Yeah.
to the board. The draft estimate of revenue, there was no changes from the last presentation. And I'm very conservative on the figures within each of these line items.
And then item 3, unless there's any questions for Kelly about the estimate of revenue. We have the appropriation ordinance fiscal year 2017. Any questions or comments to Kelly on that? Okay, item 4 is the budget fiscal year 2017. We could potentially have some very minor changes. I'm not necessarily anticipating. There's a couple little things. So just want to remind everybody, if you have any concern, no matter how little or great, you want to bring it up well before April 12th.
Yes. I also do want to point out that within the water and sewer fund, we are anticipating to transfer $250,000 into the water sewer capital fund during the next fiscal year, after all the revenues come in with the help of the increase for the water to put towards, for the infrastructure for future.
Okay, if there's no comments or questions at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 6:54. All right, I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and then we'll start the committee of the whole. Is there any other takers for coffee? Restrooms? I think it's because you're right, you're on the chair. Do you want a page this? Give this back to me.
So now I
Oh, maybe it was. Yeah, you're right, yes. You're, the golf pencils. Somebody donated. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
We're back. The Village of Hainesville Committee of the Whole will now start on Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016, at 6:52 p.m. If I could have a roll call, please.
Mayor Minnesota.
Still here.
Trustees Georgianne Duberstein here. Barrett.
Counted for.
I'm here. And David.
Here.
Okay, and we are in quorum, and could I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Omnibus vote agenda.
So moved.
Roll call.
Trustees Georgianne Duberstein. Aye. Barrett.
Aye.
Hein.
Aye.
And Daly.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, Committee of the Whole, first up is Public Works. George is not with us. He's performing in a play tonight. You know, George is quite the accomplished actor and is performing in Libertyville in a great performance called The Gathering. Georgianne, are you going to cover his report or just going to hand it out? Or?
I don't know if you said that you were going to read it, or you want me to read it. I've got a copy.
Can you read the highlights? Yeah, I thought you were going to cover it. I'm sorry. Condensed version.
Well, you see, it shows that we don't really do things together, because I haven't a clue what's in here. I know that he's been working on the work enactment, and that's going along. There's a lot, details that he's working on, even though this thing is in September, he's been working on it, I think, since the beginning of the year. And doing lots of stuff.
Yeah, the report basically, does cover the Civil War. The main issue right now that George is going to finish up and have for me in the next day or two is obviously we're anxious to get the letters out requesting sponsorship for the event. So we've been beefing up the list of who we're going to target because this is a much larger event and we're going after a larger circle of attendees, and therefore, rightfully so, we can be able to attract different types of sponsors. So that will be completed, and then the Civil War reenactors will be putting a website together or a link on our website so reenactors can sign up to participate, and we're waiting for the waiver to get approved by our attorney, and so he received that this afternoon, so we should have an answer from Jim Rock.
The sports club has already donated $3,000, has agreed to donate $3,000.
Yeah, I didn't want to steal George's thunder, so I'm glad you announced it. And the treasurer will be happy to know, I said, don't send the check till May 1st, because it's got to be revenue for the new year.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to wetlands, open spaces, and woodlands. Georgianne, back at you.
We are planning an exciting event for Saturday, April 9th at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're going to attempt to transplant baby oak trees from the north end of Hainesville Meadow into Danbury Lake Woodlands because for two reasons. One, to replace some because there was so much damage during the tornado. And also, just over the years, old oak trees die, and it's always good to have new ones ready. And nature does it, but since we have a whole cluster of them at the north end of Hainesville Meadow, we thought it would be a good idea to transplant them because they aren't all going to survive if we leave them where they are. So I've contacted the National Honor Societies of our two high schools, and so far the advisor for Round Lake High School said that there should be some students from there.
Good.
And Dave Coulter is volunteering his time to come and oversee this, to show the students and anyone else from the village that wants to help exactly how to do it. They're very tender little things, and we want them to be treated like jewels. And what we're going to do is, where they're planted, we're going to put stakes next to them, and the person who plants them will be able to put their name and the date on that stake next to his tree, his or her tree.
Would any of our scout troops be able? I'm just wondering, I just thought of it to kind of take this.
I just assume have older kids.
Okay, yeah.
Because I want them to.
What's the youngest you want? Do you know?
22.
Or strictly high school, or do you want to stay with high school kids? I mean, like, would you take middle school kids?
Yeah, maybe some.
Okay.
Kids.
Okay.
And adults, any adults in the community that would like to do this, we love to have
These
this.
kids, I've already volunteered for it, so.
And how many trees do you think you'll be moving?
Depending on the number of people we have doing it, maybe 30, 25.
How many, out of curiosity, how many are in the cluster up here in the middle?
Somewhere around 50 or so. I don't know if they haven't counted them, but before the 9th, they're going to clear that area out, which has been on their to-do list for years, and mow, but first stake,
Make it easier to find them? Yeah.
identify the trees and make sure they don't mow them down. But we probably wouldn't plant all of them this year, and so maybe we can do some more next year. And they're really little. They're probably less than 2 feet high because the younger they are, the smaller they are, the better chance they have of surviving. Maybe they won't even know they've been moved if we do it right.
Georgianne, would you like to have this put on the website?
Yeah.
Could you type up something?
Sure.
And send it to me, and I'll get it. It's got to be tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, the sooner the better.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll do that.
I'll even bring you one because I started a couple kennels from seeds and I actually have two in my backyard that are actually growing together, so the seeds will separate them, not you want.
Okay.
So I still need two kennels in my backyard because once they get to fall height, they're beautiful trees, but I don't have a backyard left.
Okay, community relations, trustee John Garanowski is not here, but he did ask for me to again remind everyone, the Facebook site is up, Hainesville, IL, all together. Find it, search it, like it, and then he's gonna ask all of you, and Georgianne, when you email your notice to Kathy for the oak tree planting, copy John and tell him to post it on the Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
And then your job is, if you have a Facebook page, make sure you go home and like it yourself, and then send invites to all your friends. I sent invites to people that I'm friends with in the community, and I'm happy to report, even though it's spring break, that almost all of them did already like our page. So that makes a big difference to get the word out there. So if you could please do that, John, and I'd appreciate it. And then I guess our big job tonight for the Committee of the Whole under Finance and Human Resources, Trustee Jerry Daly has worked hard on the revised personnel manual. Jerry, I'll give you the floor.
I don't know what to do with it. First of all, I want to thank Linda, Kelly, Kathy, Roe, Jim Rock, everything I mentioned in the memo. This thing has gone through so many editings, and we found a lot of oopses, or did you need to put that there? But you've got it now, you've had, hopefully had a chance to go through it, so I'm willing, as is Linda, to take any questions you may have concerning it tonight.
And most importantly, not just, some of this started because some of the areas were confusing. It was a matter of interpretation. I could read it and interpret it one way and think it was obvious, and somebody else could read it another way and think it was obvious the other way, so.
An example of that was the vacation firm. The wording was, when I first wrote it 6 years ago, was crystal clear to me. But it didn't work out that way, so we've cleaned it up. We did a lot of cleaning in this.
That's the current version that you have online now, in the email.
Yes.
If you want an email, send it to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
The draft.
Yeah. And if you want a printed copy, we didn't.
No, I don't like planting for trees.
Okay.
Georgia, she's been on the street.
The other thing to keep in mind is did we overlook anything? Sometimes it's nice to have a set of eyes that's further removed, because there could just be an issue that we just haven't included or brought maybe to the point that we should if an issue ever comes up.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
If I recall, it's, in most places, it's talking about employees that work 32 hours. Are you considering 32 hours full-time? Or is 40 hours full-time?
40 hours is full-time for IMRF purposes. Am I correct? Not, it's considered full-time for overtime. They have to exceed 40 hours for that. Beyond that, I don't think we're considering it full-time.
Okay, I just wasn't sure how it was being classified. Thank you.
Now, Kelly, what is the hours in IMRF, since that was brought up?
It has to be the position, it has to be designated that that position is gonna have 1,000 hours in a calendar year consistently. So that will qualify that position as IMRF. And then Trustee Duberstein, and I don't recall reading 32 hours, there are some points within the manual, like 24 hours, that like if you're consistently working 24 hours, then you do qualify for holiday pay, sick time, some vacation time, stuff like that.
Any other thoughts, comments? Okay.
Next, Dino.
All right, if there's nothing else at this time, the plan is that we will put this for formal adoption at the next board meeting. That's the goal anyway. I'd certainly like to have this adopted, if not at the next board meeting, certainly by the second meeting in April. So if there's any issues that come up, I know that this started a topic in regards to the insurance stipend, and I asked that we keep that separate. That is a benefit issue, just like any other compensation. So I sent you all a memo by email. I hope that the trustees have read it. I've asked for your feedback, and then if need be, we can go into executive session at the next board meeting. So that's the plan on that.
Right after the vote.
Yeah.
Because it is in the manual, so we have to decide on what we're doing before we put the.
No, we don't have, what we can do is, I just didn't change it for the purpose of this. We can put in language according to Jim Rock that says as determined, currently determined by the board, or if a decision through discussion or recommendation is made by the next board meeting, then we could have that language. So I'm waiting to get feedback from the board.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Let me read just one thing, which would be easy. This is from the disclaimer on page 4. The village reserves the sole right to add, amend, or delete portions of this manual at any time, with or without notice, as it deems appropriate. So if it goes in, if it happens to slip by all edited, and goes in and then we spot it, we can still change it.
That's true, but I would want to do that on a regular basis. I think we need to do, I think we're almost there, and I think that, you know, I didn't want to mix two topics tonight. I think that compensation and benefits is a standalone discussion, and some of that can warrant the need of executive session at times. And this is really just as far as I would identify language, you know, clarity. Are we covering all the areas, you know, that need to be covered? And dollar amounts, rate increases, or whatever are going to change over time. We can put a cover-all language in here if need be. So
I want to say that I really appreciated your comments on the side. It made it easier for me to know if there were questions about
process
something. And I would like to recommend that whenever anything is sent to us, if it's something that existed and it has some changes, if the changes be highlighted so that we know what we're looking at. Otherwise, we may not be able to tell what the new part is.
well, and what we used in this case is on Microsoft Word is you use the review and you have the options to do the balloons. So what you saw was colored balloons. So, and the colored balloons are different based on who's making the comments, whether it's me, Jerry, or Jim Rock. So if you like that, because some documents, I just want to remind you, we receive where there's just lined out, and I think that comes from Ansel Link sometimes actually, where the actual old language is lined out and then the new
I
ones.
just want to make sure that we consistently do that, whether it's
Sure.
something from the office here or from Jim Rock or whoever.
Okay.
It just helps us to
Yeah,
know.
I agree. I think that's fair enough request. So I like balloons, so balloons are good for me.
Highlighting is fine with it. You know what I
If you need to know how to make balloons on Microsoft Word, come see me. I'll be okay. Okay, any other comments or questions? Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned, 7:15. Woo-hoo!
3 meetings.
Yeah.